late. He's going to join the meeting late, so we might have to come back to his report. So as long as we can do most of the meeting without him, which I think we can, we'll just come back to his report. I know Wayne Ingram has some time constraints tonight. He needs to be done by 7:30.
Dave, I got to run out for a second. I got to get the road department report. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, Steve. We'll wait
Go
for
ahead
you.
and start it. I'll be right back.
All right, Kevin Melvin, if you want to give that record button a shot and we'll get started.
It's already on.
All right. We'll call the meeting to order. It's a little after 7 o'clock. Adequate notice of the meeting has been given to the Express Times and the former Star Gazette, Express Times, Warren County's own edition, in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. A notice of this meeting and all other regular meetings of the Powhatan Township Council are posted on the township's website. If we could all take a moment of silence and a flag salute. Okay. I pledge allegiance
To
to the
the
flag
flag
of the
of the United States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
one
One
nation,
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and
with liberty and
justice.
justice for all.
Justice for all.
We're getting better at that.
Yeah.
Okay. I need a motion to pay the bills. Has everybody had a chance to look at the bill list?
Yep.
Payment of
Yeah,
bills
there was
presented
a-
in proper form, signed by the Director of each department and approved by the majority of members listed on the bill list. Does anybody have any questions about their bills?
Yeah, Mayor, there's a couple I've got. I just want to get some clarification on.
All right, you want to go first, Kevin?
Sure. The first is Palmer Nursery for $1,734.
I saw that.
Yeah, Kevin, that's for safety mulch in the park.
And then I see Vogler's on here for $3,200 for repairs. What vehicles we're repairing?
That's usually police department
Yeah.
stuff that goes up there.
That's all. That's mine. That's multiple bills for fixing. We've had a really bad year with our vehicle maintenance. So we have some older cars that I know I'm 11,000 over on my vehicle maintenance, but still not over in overall OE. But yeah, Vogler's is mine.
Okay. That's it for me, Mayor. Those are the two I had questions about.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Ingrid, did you have some questions?
I was going to ask about the Palmer Nursery bill.
Okay, any others? Yes.
I'll move it forward, Mayor.
Second, Steele.
Wanda, can you call the roll?
I'm trying. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Nope.
Barely.
Barely, Wanda.
Okay, I'll try to talk louder. Babinski?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we'll have public comments pertaining to agenda items and agenda items only.
Mayor, excuse me, you forgot the minutes, please.
So Dave, she's asking about the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over them. I'm sorry, guys. We'll go back to the minutes. I'm sorry. Let's scroll backwards here. We have minutes from September 15th, and we have minutes from October 20th. We can take them both together. I believe everybody was present. Do I have a motion? Has everybody had a chance to review them?
Yeah, Mayor, I've got some amendments to the October one. I don't know if you want to do them separate or just to,
Just make your amendments, Kevin, and then we'll take them still together.
okay. So my first one is these are under my department report for the month of October. There's a line in there about money from the sale of the skid plate for the fire department. That's actually was money budgeted for the acquisition of a replacement of a skid plate. So just
Correct.
clarification there.
Okay.
There's also a comment about having to purchase items for new members. That's actually for turnout gear. If we could just clarify that in that last piece of my report. And then when it gets to the general store, there's a note in there that says Councilman Melvin sent a letter to Kurt Weiss, and I did not send a letter to Kurt. So I think it was maybe requested a letter be sent.
I believe that letter came from Kevin Benbrook, not you.
Correct.
And maybe that could be put in there somehow. I don't have the minutes in front of me, so I really can't say. But we'll amend that, or have Wanda amend that to say Kevin Benbrook.
Okay.
Because I know that letter did get sent.
And then I'll move those forward as amended.
All right.
Second.
Yeah, John, second.
Yep.
Wanda, can you call the roll?
Binsky,
Yes.
Ray? Ray?
Ingrid?
Yeah. Melvin,
Yes.
Stillwell,
Yes.
Yes, when you get to me, Wanda. So that's
yes.
all unanimous. Yep. Okay, now we'll go to public comments. Does anybody have any public comment pertaining to agenda items? If so, Councilman Melvin can recognize you.
I don't see any public comments. So I think we could probably close public comment.
All right, we'll close public comment and we'll move on. We're going to do the engineer's report now as Wayne Ingram has some time constraints tonight. Wayne, are you on with us?
I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
So this month, it's pretty much just updates on everything from last month. Still with Pinterest Point and Mountain Road, still waiting to hear if any grant funding would be approved through FEMA. I just read that New Jersey had been approved for FEMA funding, but I didn't see Warren County in one of the counties that was approved. That was a list that just came out the other day. So I don't know if that's going to relate to what we've asked for, but it's like we may not get anything from there, but maybe the chief knows better. Our Pinterest Point Road DOT grant. So we have the modeling done, and we have two options that we're going to present to DEP on how we should look to fix the erosion issue. The two options are a rough estimate at this point, and I'm trying to be over conservative. Is somewhere between 450 and 650,000. So, depending how DEP goes with what they decide, the good news is that I'm not coming up with anything close to the $1 million that was allocated. So again, hoping to keep the budget down on that, and cross your fingers, maybe we can keep it almost grant. I had previously mentioned that we submitted a stream corridor study as part of our Highlands and affordable housing compliance. The Highlands Council has reviewed it and has accepted that document. So at least as far as we, as the township, are concerned, we're in compliance with our affordable housing plan by having submitted that. And so, if and when grant funding is restored to their agency, we would do the work. But again, until then, we don't have to do anything or incurring expenses to the township. Next up is our local aid grants, phase 1 through 3 of the guide rail. The guide rail contractor has ordered the material, should be arriving soon. The one problem we encountered, we obviously bid all this through the co-op. The pricing was kind of attractive. One of the cheapest contractors of the whole bunch, but one that is necessary for the project, is the tree contractor, who basically seems to be reneging on his ability to perform the work. So we've reached out to the co-op, who they kind of dropped the ball a little bit, but they're back on track of issuing him basically the fact that he's in violation of his contract, and he has a week to respond to that. Just so we don't get hurt here, we're going out to get 3 quotes, informal quotes, since the dollar value should be under the 17,000 cap. Just so we have a backup option should he not be able to perform the work. What we as the township or the co-op choose to do with him for failing to perform on a contract, I don't know yet, because we have to see how he responds to their demands. But hopefully I'll have an answer for you on that next week. In the same vein, again, we would be obligated to use that contractor for the phase 3. But given how he's been on phase 1, I'm not inclined to go back to him. So again, we're asking formal quotes at this point on the tree removal for those phases as well. We have a lot of excess grant funding on that. So regardless of where those numbers come in, we should be more than fine on those phases. All the other contractors for those have also been authorized, so they've to for the materials. And finally, the Maple Avenue repairs were completed. Everything looks good over there, so I think it's pretty much closed out. Wasn't in my report, but I should also say that there's been some extensive gas lines being constructed in the township that we've been monitoring. So there's been a lot of new people getting hooked up. So I think that's going pretty well. They've got some to make to the roadway and things that we're keeping them advised of, but overall, it looks like they're doing a decent job out there. That's about all I have.
Okay, Wayne, thank you very much. All right.
Mayor, can I just ask a question of Wayne? Wayne,
Absolutely.
I know we have a number of things that are in process. Is there anything outstanding that you're looking for approval from the governing body on that's out there, or what's the next thing in line that we need to just sort of keep in the back of our heads?
At this point, I think we're caught up to date. The mayor was kind enough to sign the contract for the other 2 co-op contractors who have been so far, great. So that's moving forward. And again, as soon as we meet with DEP on the LAIF grant, we'll know which direction we're going, and we can hone in on the final thing for that project. But other than that, nothing else has been brought up to me that requires any decision making from the council at this point. We're just existing projects. I mean, we do have the 2020 grant, which we received for March. The good news there was we got additional funding for the project, so we can combine our 2 grants, which is the intention there, which raises our budget. And I mean, I guess that's the only thing we could, look to begin is, that's a resurfacing project and possibly doing some curbs. I can get you an estimate for next month on the work required to prepare the plans if we want to proceed with that, because at this point we do have a substantial amount of grant funding since the second year's numbers came in.
Yeah, I think that would probably be good.
Sure.
I have a question for Wayne.
Sure.
Go ahead, Ingrid.
Okay. We at the meeting talked about a permit from the state for different use down there, right? And in the days after the meeting, it was incredible the amount of trucks going in and out of the quarry, as well as huge pieces of equipment. the rate of a truck a minute, coming down the road or going up. Will you be going back in there now that the permit has been issued and there's different things going on in there for another inspection? Or is that necessary?
Well, I mean, the new year is right around the corner. We're 2 weeks out, and at that point, they have the escrow fund, and we can go out and do a yearly inspection. I just spoke to their engineer yesterday, who advised me of, they intend to come to the board for quite a few projects in the near future, and they're going to be presenting some site plan applications for various things they want to do out there. So, again, I expect to hear from them, pretty soon on that. He seems to be moving forward on a lot of those plans. I heard talk of a solar field, continued reclamation activities, basically filling the quarry. We talked about making sure that that's all certified clean material. So, and again, I'm happy to go take another site visit out there. I don't think there's much we're going to find them out of compliance with. It's, I think the truck traffic is, just a result of them, being a much more active operation than the prior owners. So, it's really a hard thing to police. They seem to be, from everything I've heard, at least, people aren't thinking about the hours of operation and things like that, but they seem to be in the hours of, of the ordinance and abiding by the ordinance.
Anybody else have any questions for Wayne? Hearing none, we'll move on then. Wayne, you're excused. I know you have time constraints tonight. Thanks for getting it done in a hurry there. And we'll move on then. We have a proclamation tonight.
Thanks, Wayne.
The proclamation is for Donnie Grube. Is to congratulate Donnie Grube, DPW supervisor, on his well-earned retirement after 36 years of hard work and dedication to the township of Powhatan. I'll read the proclamation. It's not real long. I'm getting better at reading these whereas ones, but whereas Donald R. Grube, otherwise known to all of us as Donnie, began his employment with the Township of Powhatan on January 1st, 1984, as a laborer in the Department of Public Works. And whereas Donnie advanced through the ranks of DPW, serving as laborer, truck driver, equipment operator, and assistant DPW supervisor. And whereas Donnie was promoted to the position of interim DPW supervisor on June 27th, 2006. And to the DPW supervisor effective August 1, 2007. Whereas Donnie has served as the emergency management coordinator for the Township of Powhatan for many years. And whereas after 36 years of employment, Donnie has decided to retire effective April 1st of this year. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Powhatan congratulates Donnie on his well-earned retirement and wish him every happiness for the future. And now, therefore, be it further resolved that on this 17th day of March 2020, the Township Council of the Township of Powhatan do hereby proclaim our appreciation to Donald R. Grube for his hard work and dedication to the township. And I don't know, Donnie, are you on here tonight by chance listening in? It does not sound so. At this point, we have a clock that needs to be taken to Donnie. I don't know, Steve, do you want to take it or do you want me to take it up to Donnie?
No, I could take it. Over the weekend probably.
Okay. Wanda has it in her office.
Yeah, I saw it this morning. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, as well as a copy of this proclamation. So if you could drop that off to Donnie when you have time and give him our thanks and check back with us. Let us know how he's doing.
I absolutely will. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Kevin Benbrook, have you happened to log on yet? does not seem so. So we'll come back to Kevin Benbrook. We'll start out with town council reports. We'll start with Steve. What do you have for us tonight, Steve?
No, same old. This is the DPW report from November 17th to December 15th. They disinfected the municipal building daily on the days that the cleaning lady doesn't. They cleaned and inspected drainage throughout the township after heavy rains. They finished up the roadside mowing, shut off the water at Huntington Field and Warren Glen Park for the winter, finished up the annual leaf pickup. They graded Creek, Lower Creek, Mountain, Pinchers Point, Musconetcong Cemetery, and Melix Woods roads and blew off everything when they were done. They raked the leaves off of Liberty and Foch Islands, blew the leaves off McCorkle's Park. They cut up and chipped trees on Pinchers Point and Foch Boulevard. They cut up a tree that was down at the Warren Glen Park at the tennis courts. The dugout formed and poured concrete to repair the catch basin number 216 on the corner of Creek and Winters Road. They blacktopped areas around catch basins 208 and 216, and they crack sealed the seams. The crossover pipe is complete on Maple Avenue. When the contractor was done, they crack sealed all the cutout seams. They serviced trucks 10, 11, and 15. They brush grind brush at the DPW yard and leaves at Crestwood Park. They closed the brush dump at the DPW yard for winter and will open it back up the end of March. Graded Edge and Still Valley roads and blew off when done. With Greenwich DPW, they swept Pinchers Point Road for us. Salted roadways on 12-9 and 12-14, and probably tomorrow. Worked on worked on the 2021 DPW budget. They sent it into the CFO, and they took delivery of the new backhoe, which I saw today. It's nice. It's impressive, and I tell you what, it's going to last longer than the rest of us. So it's really it's a nice machine. I guess that's pretty much it. Jeff gave me a quickie quote just for your perusal on a roadside mower, and just to tell you how much they cost anyway. And it was if I can find it here, like it was $64,000 just for the mowing head without the tractor. And our one tractor is shot too. It's from the early 1970s, and that's parked. So at some point in time, we're going to need to think about another roadside mower. That's it.
64,000 just for the mower.
Just for the mowing head, yeah. Plus the cost of the tractor to hook it up to. Which I don't know what that cost, but it's probably the same money, you know.
Tractor that size is going to be 60 to 75,000 easy.
Like I said, yep, same kind of money. So
I don't know. I think we're going to buy some goats and we're going to give the guys goats and let them walk them around the roads. It's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper than that kind of money, but we'll
sounds good.
Cross that bridge with our current budget in 2020. I guess we'll have to think about that and see
Yeah.
what we can do. All right,
Yep.
Steve, anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's all. Yeah, I'm going to have something. I guess we're going to do an executive session tonight. I do have a little personnel thing I want to get into. It shouldn't take too long, but that's it for now.
All right, thanks, Steve. Moving on, I guess we go to Ingrid next. Ingrid?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Loud and clear.
Okay.
Yes.
The Historical Commission canceled its November meeting due to the fact they said something. It canceled its meeting because of Thanksgiving. Held in Scenic Delaware Management Council. I think we were all given a link to completing a survey regarding the use of the river and I completed the in-depth survey, and it really asks a lot of questions about what's going on along our township border with the river, and of course discussed all of those things over our meetings over the summer. I found it interesting that die off of vegetation. There's a bear on the riverbank that got the vegetation died. I have a picture of it, but I don't know how to get it up right now. Regarding starting this Lower Wild and Scenic Movement, I watched the Zoom recording of their town hall meeting on Monday, November 30th. I think we all got notified that that was going to happen. It was interesting. Representatives from communities along the Delaware out to Cohasset talked about various concerns about the river use, how it's being enjoyed, how it's being destroyed, ranging from lemon waste, excess tubers with garbage gathering, and so forth. A few years later, I attended the Lower Wild Scenic Delaware Management Council meeting, where I learned much about the goals and actions of this group. I know nothing about them, and it really interests the group. They work in concert with the National Park Service to administer grants for ecological projects, from studying river erosion solutions for Bridgeton, PA, eradicating the mussel, Hunterdon County, Trout Mid did a study of roads that impact upstreams feeding into Delaware. The bird sanctuary in Bucks County received a grant for a stream cleanup, a nature trail. There's a lot of really good work going on. Lower Wild and Scenic Delaware Management oversees, coordinates all that work and the grant money. On December 7th, I attended the environmental. The reason I did was twofold. I wanted to get a concept project planted in Samaya, planting a township, and get people to raise monarchs. I did that this summer. I have some friends that live in Hunterdon County that have been raising monarchs from caterpillar for years, and I enjoyed it. I have 4 butterfly tents, and I successfully and released 43 monarchs this summer, and it's important to do that, as I explained the meeting, because their survival rate is terrible. We also discussed the development of the backyard chicken ordinance, which we talked about at last council meeting. Kevin Benbrook was discussion points and provided some materials. The overall feeling on the committee was they liked the Vernon ordinance, and so Kevin's going to be that. Dave, is there anything I missed from that meeting?
Not that I can recall, Ingrid. No, the only thing else that we talked about, and I can bring that up in my report, was the variance that they're looking for on the paper mill property.
I reached out to Darren Swanicki. He has nothing new to report on Habitat for Humanity project at this time. I compliment the fire company going around the township, visiting kids, passing out candy. It was really fun to see that. And that's my report.
All right, thank you, Ingrid. We'll move on to Kevin Melvin.
Kevin, you're on mute, bud.
Thank you, sir.
There it is.
First up is fire department report. And the fire department has a new slate of officers for 2021. And the new chief is Tom Nigro, and assistant chief is Bob Sickles. I've got a laundry list of the remaining officers and heads of chairs that I will provide to Wanda for the sake of entering into the minutes. So congratulations to all those officers and heads. Look forward to working with them and them with us on Assistant Township. Additionally, the fire company has a 2002 GMC Savannah van that is currently a special services unit. And however, it was primarily for Powhatan OEM. It was a shared vehicle. The van doesn't really is really not put into operation now, and it's not for use in the fire services. And Chief Nigro had spoken to Chief Rob about the status of the van, and I think the both and Chief Rob can comment as well, that came to the agreement and conclusion that it's really not necessary for the township, and so the fire department is requesting that the van actually be sold. And that the money then be donated back to the fire department to defray for some other equipment needs. They did reach out to confirm with Chief Rob as the OEM coordinator that there was no concerns or issues with that before making that request. And apparently, Chief, you were good with that. And the current mileage on the van is about $21,798. So that's one thing I would just like for us to take action on this evening after some discussion to see, if we're good with them just selling this van. Again, it's a 2002 GMC Savannah with less than 22K on it. And that they'd like to see if they could use that money to defray the cost for some of their other equipments, specifically towards the Marine unit. And as Councilwoman Gray, good, sir.
Do we know who paid for the van originally?
I believe it came out of the township as an OEM asset.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have interrupted.
No, you're good. As Councilwoman Gray mentioned, the company had their annual Santa run throughout the township this Saturday. I know it was hearing horns and sirens blaring all the day. I was wondering what the heck may have been going on. And then all of a sudden we saw the trucks coming down the road, and they're great about it because they actually turn off the sirens and stuff when they go in front of the animals. So that's always appreciated, not to scare the bejesus out of them. But I think a good time was had by all. And of course, in line with the COVID-19 health restrictions, everything was followed per procedure, and it was a huge success and hopefully a nice treat for the residents to some good news and good entertainment, on a otherwise tumultuous year. And then for the month of November, the company responded to 20 calls. 11 of them were fire, 9 EMS. They also did an extraction drill with Alpha Fire Company, and they would like to thank both the Palatkon Police Department and our DPW for their assistance in setting up that drill. And finally, on behalf of the fire company, they wanted to wish the council and all the township residents and employees a very safe and Merry Christmas and happy, healthy New Year. And so I will pass this on to Wanda for the inclusion of those names in the minutes. Any questions about the fire department report?
Councilman Melvin, how does the fire department, how would they like to sell that van, or how can they sell it?
My speculation is, and I had a brief conversation with Chief Nigro about this, is that it possibly would need to be sold by the township, and I'm thinking through auction.
Okay.
And then whatever amount we get to that would then could be donated to the fire department for their equipment.
Okay, I would assume that piece of equipment would have some value with the low mileage, even though the year is high, it's an older piece with the mileage. I would think there still should be some significant value there.
Yep, it should be good for a few bucks.
All right. Well, you want action taken on that tonight?
Yeah, I mean, if we're good, I guess, Chief, I'll look for your just to close the loop on this to ensure that from an OEM perspective, you're on board with that proposal.
I'm completely on board with that.
It is a motion then, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We just have to figure out how, the means of selling it, that's all.
Yep. And then for the court reports, so for Greenwich Township, they had, for traffic complaints issued, 198 for the month of November, which brings them to 2774 for year to date. Disposed 197, and year to date 2268. For their criminal charges, they had 41 cases filed in November and 479 year to date, and disposed 25 of those and 270 year to date. So there's still obviously one of the things I noticed from a pattern perspective is some of those criminal charges, dispositions are lagging a little bit further behind. My speculation is part of that's due to some of the COVID restrictions and prioritization of some of the court cases. From a finance perspective, the month of November yielded $5,096.21 for a year-to-date total of $66,157.86. For the Powhatan Court, for traffic tickets issued, we had 196 for a year-to-date total of 2151. Of that, there was 160 disposed, as well as the year-to-date total of 1701. Criminal complaints, 96 for the month of November. So, Chief, it looks like November was a little spike there. And the total for the year, I think, is 902. And of those criminal cases, disposed were 47 in November and 408 for the total. The total amount from revenue brought into the township through the court for Powhatan, $5,456.68 for a year-to-date total of $60,367.57. Additionally, I did have the deputy mayor of Greenwich reach out to me, Paul Beam, with some requests for information. I did share that information before Thanksgiving with the CFO as well as with the court administrator. I think most of it's financially driven. I'll be following up to see how that effort is coming with pulling that information together and to see if we can provide the level of detail that they're looking for. So that's where the current status is with the shared services agreement. And then, Chief, would you like to give an update from police and OEM perspective?
Sure. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ingrid.
While we're still on Greenwich, what about the record storage?
That's part of the shared services discussion, Ingrid. So until that gets, until we either cut bait and cut them loose completely, or they sign on the shared services agreement, we're in a limbo. Yep. Chief?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So yeah, we did, as the numbers that you said, we did have a very busy November. It just seemed to, I don't know, it was one of those months, but we had almost 2,000 calls for service, a little over that. As you can see, the arrests were, 96 is what we put in the court. But we had more than that, and some people were let go at the scene just because we had the prosecutor's office has advised us on certain things to just, with COVID, to let that go at this moment. But so we did have more than that. Traffic summonses, we had, it was over 172 that we wrote. So we had 42 motor vehicle accidents. So for just a month of November, OEM, keep a constant watch on the numbers for COVID right now. On the books, it says we have 59 active cases, but the state is a little slow on getting us the individuals that are off the list. So those numbers are a little high right now because I know for a fact that we don't have 59 active cases that are in quarantine. But the numbers do keep going up. We get about 2 to 3 per day within the township, which is a lot more than we had last time. Otherwise, earlier Wayne spoke about the Pinterest Point submission. It looks like the county itself is not going to qualify for FEMA reimbursement on that storm. We had the largest chunk of it that we proposed, but the rest of the county didn't have that to fit the number. I think the number was 399,000, but I'm not 100% sure. But so I don't think we're going to get anything for the Pinchers Point because I haven't gotten any correspondence. In reference to COVID reimbursement, I had a meeting on Wednesday, and right now we're getting. I requested 17,000 to be reimbursed. It looks like they're going to approve about 14,000 of that to come back to us. The 3,000 that wasn't approved. I mean, I put in for everything, but they considered $3,000 worth of supplies that we needed even without COVID. So they weren't going to hear the explanations, but we are going to get about 14,000 back. Otherwise, looks like the trend for tomorrow's storm is that everybody's going to start going into a snow emergency at approximately 8 a.m. And I think that is to assist the road department with getting ready in the streets for, vehicles off the roadway for the plowing that's going to have to happen. We're going to get about 20 to 24 inches of snow predicted for this area. I do have the municipal building can be utilized as a warming station because we're supposed to get some high winds that might knock a lot of power out. So if that's the case, we can hold up to, with our socially distancing, we can hold up to about 20 people in the courtroom for a warming station. As long as you guys are okay, if we need it, as long as you guys are okay with utilizing the building for the emergency situation, if that would arise. Otherwise, budget has come up. I talked earlier about my automobile budget. I'm about $11,000 over this year. We had a really bad year. We have 3 vehicles that are really old. So in talking with Jeff Lovitz, we came up with an idea that's probably going to save about $7,000 to $8,000 in the budget for vehicle maintenance, where they are willing to do our oil changes, tire rotation, and the basic maintenance in the cars, so that we don't have to pay someone to do that. We would just have to pay for the supplies to fix to do the oil changes. So we came up with that plan together. Hope you guys are okay with that, but we figured it'd be fiscally responsible to try to save a little bit of money from the tax base.
I like it.
Otherwise, I did send the email out, but I'm assuming that you guys want me to talk about that maybe in executive session, or is that something you want me to discuss now?
Executive.
I was going to say, since the attorney's not here, let's wait to exec session.
But otherwise, that's all I have for today.
What's the latest and greatest on COVID? I know in Pennsylvania, Wolf shut down indoor dining and pretty much anything else where you can go inside. What's the latest and greatest that you're hearing from Trenton?
Yeah, right now they're not going to be doing that. They're looking at the numbers. For instance, gyms, the numbers are really low. That the spread is not coming from there. Also, restaurants, they limited the bar service and allowed the municipalities to do more if needed for hotspots. But the trend doesn't look like they're going to be touching the indoor dining at this time, which is a good thing for local businesses, especially, within a couple of weeks of Christmas.
Okay, thank you.
Scott, I have a question about that. Regarding the restaurant in business hours, forwarded us a resolution from the freeholders that said something like they wouldn't interfere and they weren't going to be policing businesses. They might to understand that if Murphy says things should be closed at a certain time and they're not in Warren County, that means there won't be any enforcement of that. I was confused by that.
No. So what I took from that resolution, that was from the freeholders themselves. And Governor Murphy put in a restriction that said bar services should be closed at 10 p.m. but allowed the county and the municipalities to modify that if needed to 8 p.m. And I believe what that resolution was is the county saying that they're not going to take any further action in regards to that. But it has nothing to do with policing if somebody's in violation of an executive order.
Thanks. Understand that. Thank you.
So Mayor, a few additional things. One, I'd be remiss to not say that the fire department did also provide a proposed budget for 2021, which I'll be forwarding on to the finance office. And then finally, from a economic development advisory commission perspective, we have not met since COVID, and so we'll probably won't meet again until the new year. And lastly, I did reach out to Chairman Person with regard to the Environmental Commission and supplied them with a WebEx information. So we've got a system now where that commission can hold remote meetings. And I believe that's everything that I have from my report.
Councilman Melvin, is there anything from the Land Use Board at all?
Yeah, there is a new D variance that's coming forward for the paper mill site by the bridge in 519 for battery storage. That will be something that myself and Councilman Babinski won't be able to vote on, being a D ordinance, but that is set to come up, as well as Gramana is currently still on the schedule for January. I think we'll have to see where that lands with regard to remote meetings, looking at way things have spiked due to people now being more and more inside. We're going to have to come up with a solution to hear that application. And I think we've got a couple additional applications that are needing to be heard, as well as the redevelopment plan for the mall should be coming to the land use board for approval and then can be moved on to council.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Anybody have any questions for Councilman Melvin? Hearing none, we'll move on to Councilman Stillo.
All right. The preliminary budget is in Edmonds, so that's all in there for everyone that put in there. My big thing tonight is that I received an email from Danelle last week informing me that she will be resigning as our CFO effective February 11, 2021. There was a motion for council to approve this request in the agenda. In speaking with Mayor Slack and Attorney Benbrook, I told them we had a CFO finalist over the summer that was highly qualified and asked permission for Kevin, Melvin, and I to reach back out to this person to see if they were still interested, since we just hired a CFO a couple months ago. We gave terms to him the same that we did over the summer. There'll be a part-time position with no benefits, entitled to prorated sick and vacation time. Employment would require a minimum of 15 hours per week. Standard office hours be whatever we come up with this person, whether it's going to be one night a week or Saturdays, with the balance of the hours to be worked off-site or in the office or weekends when required. We have the right to reserve to adjust the days and times, but we will do that with that person. The annual salary of the term would be $29,000. And also attending department head meetings or council meetings upon request that we need them for. So any questions on the terms or with the resignation of Danelle from any council members? If not, when Kevin and I reached out to Joe Kokovlasik, he did accept the terms that we offered him. And told him that we would bring this back to council tonight for discussion and, if possible, to put as a motion to vote on this so that he can effectively start January 4th, 2021. That will give him and Danelle 1 month to work together to catch him up to speed on everything so that we can just easily do the transfer when she does leave on February 11th, because that's smack in the middle of budget season. And that is That is what I have on that.
I'm good with moving in that direction, John. Maybe the rest of council chime in, but if we're all in consensus on that, I'd like to add that as a motion to hire him, starting January 4th at the terms John just talked about. Like I said, we don't need to really interview. We already did it once. He was it was between him and Danelle. We stayed with Danelle because she was already working for us. But Joe was more than qualified. And as I said, I'd like to add that as a motion that we hire him starting January 4th, if everybody's all right with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Steve?
Yep.
All right, so we're just going to add that as a motion then. After we accept Danelle's resignation, then we're going to hire Joe. Anything else, Councilman Stillwell?
That is it.
All right, thank you very much. I'll be brief. There's not been a whole lot going on. We've talked about COVID. My weekly call with the county today was rather short. As Chief Rob had mentioned, our numbers are climbing a little bit. Positivity rates are climbing a little bit, and hospitalization capacity is being used up. I believe this morning, I thought they said we were at 25% capacity, which is not terrible, but if this thing gets out of hand in a hurry, that could jump drastically. All I can say is, try to practice the social distancing and, wear your mask when you're out in public as they're recommended. Other than that, the good thing is the mortality rate has not really increased that terrible. I believe there was only a handful of deaths over the last period of time since the last report. They did say there has been outbreaks again in the long-term care facilities. But as everybody has seen, the vaccine is here. Warren County is going to get some of it. They said it's going to probably be spring until it gets to the general population, but they're going to start with long-term care facilities and healthcare workers. I did receive a call from our planner, Jim Kyle, in regards to the Phillipsburg Mall. And I will talk about it. Everybody can know, at least be on the same page. Jim Kyle had said that Lopakon really wants nothing to do with entertaining warehousing at the Phillipsburg Mall site. So I more or less said at this point we almost got to cut ties with them and proceed on our own. Lopakon's idea for the Phillipsburg Mall, they would like to see, and I had a hard time following this, but it would be privatized sports fields. I guess very similar to what is in Flemington at the Diamond Nation facility, where it would be privately owned sports fields for, I guess, recreation for the instruction of students. But it would be privately owned from a tax rateable basis. I've not had a chance to reach out to our tax assessor to see what that would fall out as a rateable, but I am almost 100% sure that is not going to be a real big rateable for our town. So I kind of said to Jim that, I kind of think we almost got to proceed on our own from that aspect. I don't know how everybody else feels. I personally feel that site is not the best use for sports fields. To me, it's right on the main highway, state highway with good access. I just don't understand what they're thinking. Lopat's already approved one warehouse on Strikers Road, and they're in the process of a second one on Strikers Road, closer to Route 57. So I don't understand what the mayor's thinking over there, but Jim Kyle had asked if I would reach out to Mayor Menigucci and talk to him. I have not done so yet, but I will. But in speaking with their council, Jim had said that they don't really want to entertain warehousing on that site. So like I said, with that being said, we kind of need to almost sever ourselves from Lopakon, and I talked to Kevin Benbrook about this as well, and move forward with our own plan and our own thought for our portion of that site. So if there's any further discussion on that in the future, I will bring it back to council. But at this point, I kind of feel like we're out on our own there.
Yeah, I agree with that because I think they have their warehouses already done, and so they don't want to do any more or be a part of that. So they're just gonna, not help us or go with what we're trying to do. And to put sports fields back there, there's not enough room to do any type of complex. I mean, to do one baseball field's almost an acre and a half of land. So I mean, I don't see how that could be, a sports complex that would be like a Diamond Nation, because that's like, 50, 60 acres of land that they're using, all these sports fields and concession stands and things like that.
No, I agree, John. I've been by that Diamond Nation many times, and to me, I don't understand what they're thinking. They had a perfectly good site there to work with, yet they took the ones on a secondary road and put the warehouses on the secondary roads, which makes no sense to me. But
Yeah, and plus too, and they're having a hard time with Greenwich because that right there by Rass, that intersection, there's no light there, and there is no, down the road there's not going to be a light because that's Greenwich's property, and then they're gonna make sure that like trucks are going to have a hard time getting in and out of there, and they're going to have cops sitting there just to, make sure to give those guys a hard time. So it's going to get ugly.
yeah, I'm sure, and I know Greenwich in general is dead set against warehouses. They came or had made an objection for our application on the Germana track, and I was informed that their counsel would be attending the virtual meeting as an objector. I guess in regards to the 122-22 interchange, because part of that is Greenwich Township. So that's where we stand on the mall property. I really can't think of anything else other than this storm. Go ahead, Ingrid.
Small property where of low.
You're breaking up a little, Ingrid. I couldn't hear you.
Of what he rendered in that site plan. I'll go ahead. Is developer aware of Lopakong's decision? Is there?
I am not aware of that, Ingrid. I mean, they knew it would take a effort between both townships to move forward, and I'm sure if Lopakon will not agree, that buyer's probably going to withdraw the offer, because everything with the buyer was contingent upon the whole shooting match going through.
Okay. And with regard to the discussion just now about Lopakon, a sports facility there, sports facilities aren't Diamond Nation. My granddaughter attends a sports facility in South Bucks County. It's a huge building that has gymnastics, bat cages, swimming pools, all in a huge building. So you can get a lot of activities if you have a kind of sports facility. Don't have anything like that around here.
Right, Ingrid, that could very well be, but I'm looking at a rateable for the township, flat out. I mean, I don't know how else to look at it. I agree, it's something that probably is needed in the area, but from a rateable basis to go from the mall to that, we're going to see third the value, a quarter the value. And as I said, to me, it's not the best and most valuable use of that property by any means. And that's part of our defense with the tax appeal.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
And I mean, what's going to happen if this offer... If this offer goes away for the warehouse project and we come to the tax appeal and the value of the offer is a quarter or whatever, we're going to end up in a really bad way with the tax appeal, Ingrid, and I'm sure everybody's well aware of that.
Let's see, I just didn't know much of that warehouse that was there actually would have been Lopakong. I was wondering if they could just scale it down and still have that there on our.
I think I think that once the redevelopment plan gets reviewed by the land use board, and if it gets kicked up to the council, then there may be opportunity, I think, to your point, Mayor, to get creative on how things are sliced and diced. And who knows, maybe there's room to do both, where you could have a facility on the, as you're facing it on the right side and the Lopat side of the property, and some other use, warehouse use on the left side. The Kohl's would probably have to be knocked down and moved or whatever that may be. But I think until you get that redevelopment plan in place, and then you have the means to be able to slice and dice things and revisit a couple of different proposed uses. It's all conjecture until that goes through.
No, I agree with you, Kevin. The problem with the Kohl's is the Kohl's owners do not want to sell, and that's going to remain regardless. So with the Kohl's staying in place, as far as Cohacon's concerned, we've got setbacks that we're going to have to adhere to with the Kohl's. And then if we go to the township line, we're going to have setbacks as well on the township line with Cohacon. So what that's going to do, that's going to shrink our usable area for the Cohacon portion of that site down dramatically, which is in turn going to affect the value.
Is there opportunity to annex that property?
As far as what, Kevin? I'm a little lost here.
So
When you say annex,
could we annex the Lopat portion? I mean, it's a question for the legal counsel, but who knows? Stranger things have happened.
in other words, try to get Lopakon to give us their portion of the mall.
Yep.
Geez, I don't know, Kevin. Maybe. Like you said, that would have to be a question for legal, and then it would have to go to Lopakon.
So I'm sure they'd want something back in return for that.
What about Edmund?
Yeah, I'm sure as well.
But it takes the pressure off
And,
of them. We don't know what the pressure is for the warehouse. Sorry, Ingrid. We don't know where the pressure is about the warehouse, if it's coming from constituents and they're getting a hard time because they've already put up, two, they've got one done, they've got plans for others already in there. So if it's coming from their constituency, that takes that off the table. And, if we have the right deal in place, they may be able to, get a win out of it, as well as us getting a win out of it that benefits both towns at the end of the day.
Yeah, but you got to be careful, because right next to that housing development is a Perucci housing development, and I don't know if they would want a warehouse right next to their development. So, that's something that would be.
And that could be one of the contributing factors. It wouldn't surprise me.
Correct.
I can talk to you offline about that, John. I have a little bit of insight there.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about it during the meeting. But
Yep.
Go ahead, Ingrid. You had a question?
Yeah, with regards to Kohl, is there a possibility for some sort of eminent domain to take that property? So it would create a warehouse?
Yeah, I don't know how that would work, because that's really not a township. Eminent domain is used basically when it's township or county or state, because they need something themselves. That's really not, I don't know how that works, Ingrid. I mean, that would be one for Bembrook. I really don't know.
I think there'd be a lot of questions about that. I mean, I have seen cases, Ingrid, where municipal bodies or public bodies have done that. But I think that raises a number of questions.
All right.
All right. I believe that's about all I have for my own report. I'd just like to compliment the chief on the Christmas tree. I saw it was lit the other night when I went through. It made me smile. It's a shame we couldn't have a ceremony, but I guess we did the best we could with the time that we have. But as I said, when I drive by the municipal building at night, it looks nice. All right, so that'll be the end of Township Council reports. Do we happen to have Kevin Pembroke online yet?
I don't see him,
No.
Mayor.
All right, so we're going to have to come back to him. We have two resolutions. They're pretty straight up. One's for the refund of overpayments for taxes for 2020, and the other was just a budget transfer. And the budget transfer was very minimal to begin with. It was only internal for the DPW, 5,000 from one line item to a different. So can we take both resolutions together?
Yeah, I'll move him forward, Melvin.
Second, Babinski.
Wanda, can you call the roll for us?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, ordinances for first reading, there's none. Ordinances for second reading, there's none. So we have some motions, and we're going to add some motions. So we have 4 motions that are written out. And to that, we'd like to add the hiring of Joe Kowalczyk as the new CFO with the resignation of Donnell. And the other motion would be to authorize the fire department to proceed with the sale of the 2002 OEM van. Anybody have any other motions that needed to be added?
No, Mayor.
Nope.
All right, so can we take all
yeah,
6
Dave-
motions together?
Dave?
Yes.
Dave,
Go ahead,
Did
Ingrid.
did we talk about the police chief's idea and a motion for that? Or you have to go to executive session?
I think if it's what I'm thinking of, Ingrid, we've got to go to executive session on that because that's a personnel kind of thing.
And then,
Am I correct?
and after the executive session then, or not?
Correct, yes. Am I correct in thinking that, Chief Rob, that
Okay.
that's what we want to do with that?
Yeah, because there's going to be a discussion, so I think that would have to take place in executive session.
Right,
Not-
that's what I thought. So there again, we have 6 motions on the table. Take them all together. Do we have a motion already?
I'll move him forward, Melvin.
Okay,
Second, Babinski.
Okay, Dubinsky,
Yes.
Gray. Melvin,
Yes.
Pillow,
Yes.
yes. Okay, mayor's announcement. The rabies clinic will be held to the municipal building on Saturday, January 9th, 2021 from 10 to 11 a.m. All right, any general public comments from the public? Councilman Melvin, can you see if we have any public that would like to make comment at this point?
I only see on here Jeff and the chief. So I don't see anyone else outside the public. So Jeff or Chief Rob, if you want to have a comment? How about it?
All right, hearing no public comments. Being that we don't have legal counsel present at the time, can we have an executive session?
I'll tell you, the thing I want to bring up, I would be more comfortable if Kevin was available and if Wanda if her computer was working a little better. Because I can hardly hear her at all.
I'm the same as well. Like I said, I'm kind of lost without Kevin Benbrook. I can try texting him to see how soon he's
Yeah,
going to be able to log.
I sent him a text asking him what his ETA was. I haven't gotten anything back yet.
All right, he had sent me a text at like 6:30 saying he was still at the office and he was running late and that he would be logging on late. But I don't know whether late is 45 minutes or an hour and 45 minutes. So I guess we can hang in limbo here for a minute.
Well, the other
See
thing,
if we,
Mayor, if we want
Go ahead.
to, I mean, I can always create a slide saying that we're going to we're taking a adjournment. We can reconvene at a certain time if you want to do that.
Sure, Kevin.
What time do you want to get back together?
Well, what do you think? Giving Kevin Benbrook till 8:30?
It's only
Yeah,
15
it's
minutes. You want to
15
give him.
minutes, so yeah.
Yeah, give him
8:45.
15 minutes, and then however long our executive session would take.
Who knows?
Yeah, but you're gonna have to go in. So to me, in my mind, they're two separate things. One is us taking a little break. and
Okay, just
re-
adjourn till 7:30 or 8:30 rather.
What about 8:45? Because I don't know if you think he's gonna be here in 15 minutes.
I
No.
don't know. Probably not. You want to adjourn till 8:45? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That gives him a half hour, and if he's at his office in Clinton, I think that's probably a half hour to his house, so that would give him time to get home.
What's the term I'm looking for, Councilwoman Gray? You being the English teacher, it's not an intermission. What do we want to call it?
It's a temporary adjournment. A temporary adjournment.
Councilman,
Shish kebab.
Councilman Melvin,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. I texted Benbrook and he just said he can't get on.
He cannot get on to the meeting.
Yeah.
All right, let me put you guys on mute. Let me put this back here and let me give him a call because he could always dial in. We don't need to see his pretty face.
All right, I'm going to step away for a minute, guys.
Website and I said, I'm gonna say yes.
All right, I'll send him. Let me send it to him. Is he at home? Wanda, is he at home? Okay, I just texted to him. He just texted me.
Trying to find it on her website. I think it's the council meeting.
Something sounds good.
So Kevin, what do you do with your animals with all this snow when it's this much? You leave them where they're at, they're fine?
Pretty much. What we'll do is we'll have to make a path to get to the waterers and the feeders and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're gonna
The
probably.
water doesn't freeze on you?
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
We'll break it, you know.
You don't have heaters? You don't put heaters in the water trough, Kevin?
We did used to, but we haven't in a while.
Yeah. 'Cause boy, the ice gets thick.
Yeah, so we just end up breaking it, and I literally will go around with a sledgehammer and take it out and then just put fresh in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pause.
I keep a heater.
Pause the recording until they gets on here.
Okay, now.
I don't see his audio yet.
See his name?
Yeah.
That's weird that he can't get in because it's been the same way for every meeting getting in.
Yeah.
I wonder if other people had a hard time getting in then, since it was only us here.
I don't know.
Guys,
There he is. Hey, Kevin.
sorry guys, this has been a nightmare. Finally had to just give up and try to call in.
No problem, Kevin. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on my cell. I was trying to, came home to get it, and for whatever reason, I can't get any access at home, and I had to log back in to my, remotely to my work email just to get Kevin's email he just sent me, so.
I know Google was having a lot of issues today as well as some other providers.
Usually it's been no problem, but this has been a nightmare tonight. Sorry about that, guys.
That's right.
It's all right. I guess first, Kevin, we need to start with your report. Do you have anything really to report to town council, Kevin Bedbrook?
Yeah, a couple things. Number one, I've been having a lot of dialogue with Jen on some potential tax appeal issues for really next year. So, tax appeal, as you guys can imagine with COVID, well, just take the old Walmart site for an example. They have they've developed a fairly high vacancy rate because of COVID, and if the movie theaters close down, that could really precipitate next year a domino effect with the Chinese buffet next to it and so on and so forth because of the complete lack of foot traffic. We're not sure how that's going to go, but I've had a lot of discussions with Jen. Jen's been in discussion with some of these owners. So I just wanted to let you guys know that, again, I've said it repeatedly. She's very proactive, Jen, and does a great job as your assessor. Next year could be tough for us with some of our commercial ratables because of these vacancy rates. What she's anticipating doing, now you have to remember, 2021 appeals or 2020 appeals were based on what everything looked like in October of 2019. That's pre-COVID. So even though those numbers hold up, we know they're going to deteriorate going forward because the 2021 appeals are going to be based upon October of 2020 information, and we know that's going to be a fair amount worse. So, Jen is what she's going to do. Her books close as of the end of December, maybe even a little earlier this year. So what she's contemplating doing is giving some voluntary reductions on some of these commercial properties, and these could be low seven-figure reductions, but that's kind of where we're heading. So by way of example, the former Walmart property, which you guys all know, that has the theater and the buffet and the Stop and Shop, and that one by way of example is probably at 28 and change right now. She may be voluntarily reducing that to 25 and change. You're talking about a couple $1 million reduction in the assessment. That won't apply to the tax bills now. It's going to apply going forward to 2021. And then what she's trying to work out with these people is, hey, don't file tax appeals in 2021. Let's actually see where your vacancy rates go. Hey, maybe the movie theater reopens. Maybe the vaccine completely changes the dynamic. And so between her and I and the attorneys for a lot of these major commercial properties in the township, we've been trying to reach an accord on that. But even without an accord, she's going to voluntarily do modest reductions. And I know a couple million sounds like a lot, but, and every nickel counts, but she's trying to be realistic. So just so you know, going into next year, we're going to try to resolve these. If we don't, we could have some major fights on our hands in terms of some of these commercial ratables. Now, and that goes for Raymore and Flanagan with the Aldis. That goes for the old Walmart site. That goes for the current Walmart site, although that stayed largely open. But don't forget, you have closures like Ruby Tuesdays. You have closures like I think the little hamburger place closed. It's been tough sledding, and I don't have to tell you guys that. But all I can tell you is you have a very proactive assessor, and she's really working hard to minimize the impact. And I'm working with her as well. So, she has the discretion to make some voluntary adjustments on her books. We don't need your approval for that. But, the other thing I'll say about Jen is she feels very strongly that she wants you guys to understand what she's doing and keep you guys in the loop. So that's where we're at. She has been in touch with her CFO just to give her a heads up, and our tax collector, that these are some of the things we're going to do. You know, I know we may be changing directions with our CFO next year, but she's trying to make sure she keeps everybody in the loop so that next year when you guys start budgeting, you'll have some understanding of where things could sit. Kind of along the same veins, we have gotten trial-ready appraisals now. I'm actually going to be dropping off a hard copy of ours as soon as I catch up with the chief. The chief and I are going to be exchanging some documents on an unrelated township matter. And when I catch up with the chief, I'm going to drop off a hard copy of our 300+ page appraisal. You know, the old saying, you get what you pay for, I think has borne fruit here to our benefit. I think our appraisal is really an excellent piece of work, very well documented, supports the numbers that we have, and more importantly, and I will also drop off a hard copy of this. I think I've emailed around the PDF, but the appraisal that we got from the owners of the mall is, I think, from our perspective, very, very easy to defend, pick apart, and destroy. So where the mall tax litigation stands is we have a window where we can do depositions of experts if we want. I don't want to have any depositions of their experts because I don't want to basically highlight for them what the weaknesses of their case are. Initially, it seemed like counsel Larry Cohen for Lopatcon was more interested in taking depositions, but I've talked to him, and I think he agrees at this point that we rather just have him on the witness stand in trial. And if that doesn't settle, we'll try that thing next spring. And there's no certainty in life except for death and taxes, I guess. But I feel that we've done the absolute best we can to prepare that case for a successful trial, and we'll see what happens. So that's the good news on the tax standpoint. I can give you another piece of good news, which I don't know where that stands, but as I think I told you guys at my last meeting, I got a phone call from Lopatcon's regular township attorney, Katrina Campbell. She's at Larry Cohen's office, saying basically that redevelopment was dead. And I got the feeling that she was not conveying that accurately to the potential contract purchaser of that mall property, and I didn't feel that was the kosher. You know, I think they have a right to know whether what they want to do is dead on arrival or not. So I picked up the phone and called them, and I said, hey, look, you know, I don't know what you're being told, but I'm being told that you're going nowhere in Lopatcon. And as I think I told you guys, I was also told that, you know, the Perucci owned property behind the mall wants to be in the mix. So I had conveyed to the potential purchasers of the mall property that, hey, pick up the phone with Steinhardt Perucci and see what's going on, because that seems to be the only way, you know, to go forward. And I told them, I said, hey, Powhacon's going forward either way, but, you know, it would still make sense to me to try to do redevelopment on a you know, multi-municipality standpoint. I got a call about 10 days ago from Doug Steinhardt saying that they've had discussions with Lopatcon, and Lopatcon is going to put the entire area into redevelopment, including their portion of the mall property, the Perucci property that's behind it, and some of the other properties in Lopatcon that go down Route 22. Supposedly they're going to throw the whole area into a redevelopment study with the idea of declaring everything an area in need of redevelopment, which would again open up the possibility of doing something that makes sense for both municipalities at the Peaburg Mall property. So,
Kevin, that would include the new property they just constructed?
Which new property they just constructed?
The one that Petrucci built with the apartments.
Oh, the town, no, not that property. It would be either undeveloped raw property like behind the mall, or properties that have older development that needs to be redevelopment. Like some of that car, the car repair stuff going down 22, that old vacant,
Diner?
ice cream stand that was across the street, all that stuff is what I think they're talking about.
Okay.
So
Because this is
that's
kind of news
great.
because
Yeah,
I
go ahead,
had a
Dave.
conversation with Jim Kyle maybe a week ago, 10 days ago,
Mhm.
and he conveyed just what you said, that Katrina Campbell had expressed to him that they had no interest. So this is definitely headway then, if they've come to the table to talk now.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think you guys all know who the players are in our region. And I would just say that, Katrina Campbell and her office are going to do what they're instructed to do. And Perucci and that group has a lot of political sway over there. And apparently it's coming to bear. And I have no issue with that as long as it helps us as a township. And that's where it seems to be going. In the meantime, Jim's study is going to be on, I believe, the January agenda for the land use board. So we're going full steam ahead. I'm hoping the land use board approves his recommendation to designate the mall, our portion of that mall property, as an area in need of redevelopment. That'll come to us sometime in January or at latest early February, and that designation will be done. Again, that's going to continue the pressure. And I think, again, at the end of the day, my goal is twofold: to win our tax appeal and or make them capitulate to something extremely reasonable that we can deal with. And as you guys know, get that property redeveloped, because it does need to be redeveloped into something that makes sense. So I was encouraged by the call from Doug Steinhardt, and he's a major player over there in Lopatcon Township, as you guys know. So beyond that, I'm trying to think if I have anything else I need to address. Is there anything you guys discussed earlier that I missed that I need to comment on?
Ingrid, did
Yes, Ingrid.
Cherie give you the
Yes, I saw back, and I think I responded to that, Ingrid. So and I think, as I said in my email to Ingrid, but I'll say it for the entire council. So the chicken ordinance is going to be a land use ordinance at the end of the day. I mean, the relatively minimal provisions that you have are already in your land use section of the ordinance. So what I suggested, well, we can go one of two ways. Either I can draft an ordinance that you guys can review, tweak. Again, this is going to be next year, because we obviously can't introduce and adopt at this point this year. But early next year, we could have a chicken ordinance that we could find acceptable as a township council, introduce it, and refer it to the land use board for their comment. They can either find it consistent or inconsistent or whatever, and send it back to us with recommendations, and then we could adopt. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it, as I indicated to Ingrid, is to have the land use board actually work on it, develop the ordinance, since it's a land use ordinance, develop an ordinance that they feel is appropriate and recommend it up to us. Then we don't have to do the statutory, back and forth. I'm happy any way you guys want. I know it's creating some problems for Scott and his department, Chief Scott. I'll go any way you guys want. I don't want to step on Wayne Williver and his board's toes. We've always worked generally pretty well with them. So whichever way you guys want to go on that. Dave, I mean, I don't know, Mayor, Council, would you guys prefer the land use board to work on it and send it up, or us to work on it and send it down? I guess that's the basic question.
Me personally, I'd like council to work on it and send it down.
Okay.
But that's just my personal opinion, because we have the subcommittee of Ingrid and Kevin Melvin that's going to work on it together already. I don't know how
Well,
everybody else feels.
Ingrid just, I think a couple days ago, sent me, yes. Ingrid, I think you sent me some samples. You sent me some comments. What I will do for January is get together then a draft ordinance, and for our council, our mayor and council, we can, bandy that about back and forth. And when you guys are happy with that, we can introduce that in first reading, and then we will send that down to the land use board for a consistency determination with the master plan. So
Sounds
I
good to
will
me.
take the lead on that. I'll pick that up.
Yeah. I think
Anybody
it would be
else?
important to copy. I think it would be important to copy the environmental commission. We had.
That's not a
good
problem, Ingrid.
discussion at that
I have no
meeting.
problem. Actually, to be honest with you, I have no problem copying Tony Spizzaro and land use board just to keep them in the loop. Again, it's an all-in type of an ordinance. So, we can circulate that broadly and get comments, even though at the end of the day, it'll be our, what we as a council would like to see introduced.
Kevin, is there anything new with the fields behind the school with the with POHAT
Oh,
board?
John, I apologize. You texted me earlier, and I was so damn busy I didn't get a chance to reply.
No problem. No problem.
I had sent those surveys and everything that Wayne did to the council for the school board, and I have not gotten a response.
Okay.
I will follow up with that, and I will make sure that we get that thing set up for transfer next year. And in conjunction with that, again, and I know I've said this before, if there's any swaps that we want to propose to Green Acres off of our, things we want to take off the inventory list in exchange for putting these properties on, I don't need to know that immediately to get draft deeds and stuff done, but we'll want to get that straightened out before we accept the title for those properties. The other thing, as I said on those, it's not. I want to make sure we get some non-exclusive use of the parking areas because, of course, those ball fields, we're going to need people to be able to park there in the school parking lot.
Right, get some sort of easement or something like that with that.
Yes. I will, John. I will copy you either before the end of the week or early next week on that. I will follow up on that. I did send Wayne's maps and descriptions to both school board attorneys, and I don't think I've gotten a response, but I will follow up and keep you in the loop.
No problem. Thank you.
That should be an easy thing to wrap up by, again, early next year. I don't see an issue with that. It's just a question of whether anybody wants to bother trying to pull anything off of our open space inventory list with Green Acres.
Yeah, Kevin and I looked into that, and I think there was some, but I don't know if the acreage added up, Kev. Right? It was. We didn't know if we could.
Yeah, it'll depend on what Green Acres. I think there is opportunity to do. It'll depend on whether it's what the ratio is.
Yeah.
1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1. That'll depend on
I was
how
going to say,
much.
Kevin, the property we're talking about for the school is like what, 20 and change?
No,
Oh, it's less
more
than
like
that.
15.
Is it less than that?
Yeah, it's like
15.
Yeah.
And when you guys were talking about like, I want to say like 5-6 acres of properties that you wanted to pull out, right?
There may be about 8 total. 8
I mean,
acres.
so we're still nearly at 2 to 1.
Yeah.
So, if there's a couple you guys want, we'll initiate that process too. All I want to make sure is that, and again, that's just a Green Acres update. But if we have something ready from them saying, hey, you can pull 2 out and put these on, that's all we need.
Right.
Because then what would happen is if you guys have a scenario where they either want to develop or sell these other open space properties, then you would have that ability to do so.
Got it.
Okay,
Sounds
anybody
good.
else have any questions for Kevin Benbrook? If not, we're going to move on to an executive session. Councilman Melvin, can you post the executive session, and then we're going to take action during executive session? So I don't know what time you want to say to come back. It's 8:45 now. How long do you think it'll take, guys?
I need 10 minutes.
Okay.
At the
Is that
moment.
the same, is that the same issue or a different issue than the chief has?
I have a whole different issue.
Okay.
The personnel thing, but it's a whole different issue. It kind of came to light
Well,
today,
I'll
so
yours-
It was 8:43. Why don't we pick 9:15 as potential call back in date for the public if we're going to take
Yeah,
action.
that's exactly what I was just putting in.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
Could I have a motion to go into executive session?
so moved.
Second, Melvin.
And this is personnel and
Aye.
contract, I guess, potentially.
Gotta say aye, everyone.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, Kevin Benbrook,
So
it's
again-
both of them, I think, are personnel.
Yeah, Kevin, well, I'd like Kevin to stay.
I'm saying, I'm not leaving. But I would have just indicated for the public that if anybody wants, we may take action after executive. So if you want to dial back in, it'd be at 9:15.
Okay, so if you're a member of the public, please go ahead and drop off. And if you don't, I will have to remove you.
Right.
Hey, Kevin Benbrook,
Yes.
did you get that closing done today?
Yes.
Good. So that's not our, that's his, it's not our house anymore, right?
No, is all the stuff out there, Steve? I meant to ask you that.
Yeah, but you know what I'm gonna do after this meeting? I'm gonna run up there and get a couple things out. There's still a mountain of shit in there, but it's all gonna get thrown away.
Yeah, if you don't care about it, just leave it there.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
I actually saved us an extra $1,000 because they didn't give them the senior citizen.
Okay, recording's back live. I don't see anyone from the public on.
All right, Mayor, I can recapitulate the executive session if you want with some help.
Please.
So
Yep.
our first discussion was initiated by Councilman Babinski, who's our liaison to the DPW. We have our most recent hire, I guess, is at the labor level. He's been doing a fantastic job. We'd like to move him up on his 6-month anniversary date from labor to what? Skilled labor, as I understand it, right, Steve?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, right? Skilled labor?
Yes, skilled labor.
Yep.
So,
Yes, that's it.
So that would be a little bit in advance of what our latest permutation of the DPW contract calls for. So what we're looking for, Steve, what's the gentleman's name?
Joe.
Don't even know?
Damn, I forget his last name.
Let's,
Q.
here's the motion.
Joey
The
Q.
motion-
Yeah. Right. Yep.
Okay, so it's a motion. The motion will be, and I'll state it and somebody can just make it. The motion will be a motion to elevate Joe Q on his 6-month anniversary of his hire from labor to skilled labor with the accompanying step increase that the contract calls for, subject to approval by the union and the shop rep.
Correct. That's it.
Somebody make that motion.
So I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. I'll call the roll. Babinski,
Yes.
Gray,
Yeah.
Gray. You say yeah. Okay. Melvin,
Yes.
Stillo,
Yes.
Slack.
And Wanda, you spell the last name Chiu. His last name is Q,
Yep.
but it's Thiu.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Next issue discussed in executive session. We have an officer in in Chief Rob's department who has indicated that she would like to resign and move on. That's going to leave us an officer short. That's going to entail a lot of extra overtime unless we take steps to fill that position as soon as practicable. The chief, I think, has designated or has identified some potential hires. So, Chief, we would like, do you want to make a motion to make an offer to a specific person at this time, subject to certain conditions?
No, if I could just ask that there's a motion to, if there's a vacancy in the police department prior to the end of the year, that I can start the hiring process with candidates and choose to hire.
We're talking about lateral from
Intergovernmental transfer, right?
Right. Right. So,
yeah.
So what we're looking for then is a motion, not for a specific individual, but a motion to authorize Chief Rob, in the event there's a resignation in his department before the end of the year, and we next meet, because this is our last meeting of the year, so it'd be a motion to authorize Chief Rob to start the process of pursuing an intergovernmental transfer / hire to fill any seat, to fill any vacancy in the department. Obviously, it's going to be subject to final approval of salary and everything else, but that's right. Where we're at.
And could that be not to exceed? Could that be salary based off of years of experience, but not to exceed 9th class of the 50,000?
So
Sure.
Add that to the motion, Wanda, and somebody make it.
So moved, Melvin.
Second, Babinski.
Okay, Babinski,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Ray?
Melvin,
Yes.
Yes.
Skillo,
Yes.
Yes.
and Slack.
The final issue discussed in executive, and I don't know that any action's taken, but just so the public is aware, we did advertise for the zoning officer position. We've received some resumes, and we've just to indicate for the record that no decisions were made in executive. Other than that, we're going to interview our current zoning officer and the individuals who submitted resumes, and that's going to be a subcommittee of Councilman Babinski and Councilman Stillo, and they'll report back.
When are you doing that?
Whenever you guys want, before the end of the year. We should try to figure that out before reorg.
But Wanda, you said there was only one resume that came in, correct?
So far,
Okay. So what's the
When's it
cutoff? What's the cutoff date for that?
the 18th, Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
But that's going to be hard to do between Christmas and New Year.
It will be.
Yeah. Does that have to be for reorg? I mean, it's not an appointed position, Kevin Benbrook. That's what I'm.
No, it doesn't have to be. I mean, it'd be nice if we can get done, but
Yeah, but it's good. That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
yeah. Listen, we won't set a date for the interviews. I'm just indicating for the public what was discussed and what we're going to do, and then you guys set it up for whenever you can.
Wanda, I'll check with you on Monday morning to see what came in by the end of Friday, or you can call me Friday afternoon if you'd like,
Okay.
and then I'll call you, John, and we'll see what we can do.
You got it.
Fine.
Just thinking of you. It's the holidays, and for
No,
candidates.
I understand that. Yeah, so if you can call me Friday afternoon before you go home, or Monday morning, one or the other, we'll decide what happens.
Okay.
And that was all that was discussed in executive.
Correct.
Great.
Seeing no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Melvin.
Mayor,
Go ahead, Chief.
did you want to? How about the health insurance?
Yeah, I suppose I totally forgot about that, Scott. We do have one piece of new business. Health insurance renewal. We had 2 meetings with our health insurance provider. The 3 options were given to us. if we stay with our current Blue Cross and Blue Shield plan, the increase was, what did we figure, Scott, about 30,000?
No, did you see the email from Danelle after our meeting?
Uh,
She said that it was actually a $7,000 savings. Wanda, is that correct? It was right? I think we both read that one.
It was a $7,000 savings if we renewed with the current plan as opposed to switching over to the state health benefit plan.
Right. She said she recalculated and it was a $7,000 savings.
Okay. I don't think that the state health thing was ever really, I wouldn't say it wasn't an option, but the bigger savings was if we went with a third-party carrier where our employees would actually be leased back to the township and the employees would get paid from the third-party carrier. And if we went that route, there was considerable savings. They wanted to handle all our HR then, which encompassed pensions, paychecks, the whole 9 yards. And there was a fee involved for that, fairly substantial. And when Danelle, myself, and Chief Rob all questioned whether this practice had been used anywhere else in governmental agencies, the insurance carriers could not provide, or the company themselves, that they worked with any other government entities in this manner.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it
I
either.
don't like it either, guys. Listen,
Because you
from
could
a
be
legal
held hostage.
standpoint-
You could be held hostage down the line. Right now, you've got direct control of your employees.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, not
The
only
part I
that,
didn't
yeah,
like was the whole pensions thing, because if they were handling the pensions and there was mistakes made, those mistakes would come back on the township, not the HR people for the third party.
Yeah, but it's a basic outsourcing. You could, I mean, they could just jack up those rates for all those administrative things and pass it back through you.
Well, I'm glad we're all in agreement, because I didn't really care for it as well. So what the decision it was kind of made, but I wanted it as a council decision, was to stay with the current plan and coverage that we have. We're still going to utilize the HRA part of it to make up any shortfalls in the plan, as far as from when the contracts were wrote with the employees, to make up any differences. And I didn't realize we had a $7,000 savings, but we'll be, if Danelle is correct, we'll be at a less cost than last year. So as long as everybody's all right
No,
with,
it's not,
Kevin-
it's not less than
No.
last year.
Yeah.
No.
no, it's not.
There is an increase, Mayor, but it's $7,000 less than if we switch plans.
Right.
Oh, okay. So
So
right,
it's going
if
up
you-
no matter what, but this is
Exactly.
the least costly option.
Correct.
Yeah.
Insurance never goes down.
And
no,
Dan-
it doesn't.
Mayor,
mine
the-
was-
You were trying to get something in there, I think.
what?
Kevin Benbrook, were you wanted to add something in? I thought I heard you started to say
well,
something.
no, the thing I didn't like about the other option was, listen, we have personnel policies and procedures manuals and employee manuals, and to the extent you all of a sudden they're not our employees, you start making a gray line between who has authority, disciplinary
Yeah.
issues, if there's discrimination issues, which we've had for a small township. Everybody does when you're an employer. I just don't like that at all. So it sounds like it's a no-brainer anyway from a cost standpoint, but I didn't like it from a setup standpoint, the other option.
I agree.
Okay. Mayor and Council, can I also ask who wants to conduct the interviews for the prosecutors?
You can throw me down, Melvin.
Okay, and anybody else?
When is that going to be, Wanda?
Well, that should be before rework. Which is
Man, I'm going to be
February
tight with time.
Listen, we
Ingrid
can always
can if you want
appoint our act our alternate prosecutor as a temporary if we need to. I think that's Troxel, right, Wanda?
Yes.
I talked to Troxel, and he'll serve on an interim basis. I think he submitted a resume too, but if you guys don't have time, we'll have coverage. He'll do it on an interim
Yeah,
basis.
because he's
I think,
currently our alternate.
right, he's
But
currently
a
our
reorg-
alternate anyway.
Yeah, but currently we do the, and I don't know, Kevin, like it's not a law that you have to make the permanent appointment, but we would have to at least reappoint him alternate for the reorg
Right.
and then make the decision going forward.
Correct. And he'll do that. I talked to him. He's a good guy. I know he submitted a resume. He'll be considered, but he'll do that for us.
And is the cutoff for that on Friday too, Wanda, as far as CVs?
I think so.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I'm seeing I got an email from someone asking about the release of the performance bond for the solar.
I think
we weren't able-
did we have that on the agenda, Wanda, or not? I
I
did a
had to
resolution.
take it off. You did, and I had to take it off.
Okay, you took it off.
Our CFO asked me to take it off because it appeared that some things were charged to that bond account. It wasn't clearly marked as a bond account, so she had to make some adjustments. But I'm getting an email from the gentleman asking me about that now.
Oh, so the number of what's going to be released has changed.
Then the number that's going to be released is accurate. It's just unfortunately some other things related to Pohakon Solar were charged to that money that was held for the landscaping bond.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we can table that. We can do it in January. That's fine.
Well, it's not tabled because I didn't put it on because Danelle asked me to take it off.
Okay. Well, then we'll deal with it next month.
Okay. And
Okay.
I think that's it.
Okay.
So I heard that Councilwoman Gray would sit in with Councilman Melvin on the interviews for the prosecutor.
Do you include the judge or how that goes? But
I was just going to ask about the
Yeah.
court administrator.
I don't know whether you want to do it in 2 rounds, Kevin, or you want to do it, sort through everybody first and then bring a candidate and interview with the judge, or
Now, maybe what we'll do is we'll review the applications, see what's there, get a short list. And then, even if we do a WebEx with like 3 of us or something like that, knock it out.
yeah, I would definitely say at minimum you'd want to get Cindy involved at some
Yeah.
point.
And Chief, do you want to, I don't know if you're interested or not in any participation there.
Only if you need me. If you need me, I can, but if not,
No
I'm okay with
desire?
that too. Not really, but
And Steve and John, if you need a WebEx thing to set up interviews, just let me know.
All right, thank you.
All right, is there any other business that we need to address tonight?
Well, Mayor, do you want to make that? Do you want to make that a motion to go forward with the current healthcare policy?
Yeah, I guess we probably should, just because it was a council decision.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to make a motion that we remain with our current Blue Cross and Blue Shield plan.
So moved, Melvin.
Second,
okay?
Okay, Babinski,
yes.
Ray, Melvin,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
and Slack.
Yes.
Okay. Other than that, I think we can make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay,
thank-
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy New Year, everyone.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Safe.
Stay well. Be
Thanks,
safe.
We'll see you.
Sorry,
Take
sorry for
care.
the connection problems, guys.